Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce and Guns, and today we're talking about Thrunite Flashlights again. This time we're talking about their brand new option, the Catapult V6. Now I have no idea what the V6 stands for, but Catapult, it's a very correct name for this flashlight because it throws light a long distance. That's not a catapult, that's a trebuchet. There's a catapult. All right, there we go. Catapult V6. Let's take a look at it. And also let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other flashlights they have from Thrunite, some of my favorites. For everyday carry, I do recommend the Thrunite T10. I love this little thing. It's a little AA battery job here. I keep an in loop in it. In loops are great little batteries there, little rechargeable batteries there. Moving up the line is the TN12 by Thrunite. It takes an 18650 battery, and this is actually the very first big boy flashlight I ever purchased. Now this is not an official Thrunite battery, but it works just the same, just fine. Also, a little tip to you, if you have a bunch of these rechargeable batteries, go ahead and number them just like you number your magazines on your rifle and pistol, so then if one does go bad out in the field, you know to avoid it and to throw it out when you get back home. And if you need a floodlight in your hand, the Thrunite TC20 is an excellent choice. It's powered by a 26650 battery, which is a massive SOB right there. 5000 milliamps. It puts out a ton of light and lasts forever. And now the Catapult V6 is also a 26650 battery, so also puts out a ton of light and will last forever, put that light out for a long time. So first of all, what do you get in the box? Well, of course you get the flashlight itself, and you get your very own 26650 battery there from Thrunite. You get a charging cable, it's normal USB charging cable. There we go. Normal USB charging cable there. Of course, you got the instructions, you got a lanyard loop, and you got a couple of extra O-rings, which is cool. Thrunite always throws in extra O-rings. I love that about them. And you have an extra charging port cover. So just in case you do pull this out by accident, because it's covered by just a piece of rubber there. So in case you pull that out, then you've got a spare right there in the box. Now the UI, the user interface, is very similar, actually it's identical to the Thrunite TC20 and several other flashlights as well. So let's go ahead and run through them just real quick here. You hold down the button, it's only got one button on the whole thing there, and it has several functions on it. You hold it down from when it's off, and you get Firefly mode. It's on, you can barely see that right there, but it's on. That is a half a lumen and will last 41 days on a full charge. 41 days, that's pretty impressive. Turn that off, and just a click quick, and you have 22 lumens, that's low. That will last 62 hours. You hold down the button when it's on, and it'll go up one more. That's medium right there, and that's 180 lumens, which will last 9 hours. And from medium, you hold down the button again, and it will go low, medium, and then high. And high is 950 lumens, which will last almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So pretty good there. And if you double click when it's off or on, doesn't really matter. Just double click, and that will take you up to 1700 lumens, which will last 2.5 hours. And like most Thrunite flashlights, it has a strobe function. So you double click to get to turbo, double click again, and you get strobe light. That's 1200 lumens. That'll last for 3 hours, which is perfect when you're trying to signal that ship when you're stuck on Gilligan's Island. The Catapult is IPX8 rated, which means it can handle 2 meters of water, so a little over 2 yards of water deep, pretty much indefinitely. I don't have 2 meters of water to deal with. I don't have a swimming pool out back, but I do have a bucket from Home Depot. So like always, I put it in the Bucket O test, the bucket challenge, and it sat there for several hours, went ahead and drained the entire battery, which is really odd because it's, for all my testing always shows that a flashlight underwater doesn't last as long as a flashlight in the open air, which is really odd. I don't understand why, but it only lasted an hour and 14 minutes when it was on turbo, when it was underwater. But when it was on dry, basically right here, pointed at the back here, it lasted 2 hours and 20 minutes. So almost twice as long outside in the open air versus in the water. I don't know if some water gets into the charging port and shorts it out, or if it just stays too cold and the battery chemistry doesn't work as well when it's cold. I have no idea, but I should, I'll test that out at some point just to see what the heck's going on, because I've never figured that out, but it happens on many of my flashlights. And along with it being completely waterproof, it's also drop proof, up to 1.5 meters. Let's go ahead and turn it on. There's turbo mode. Go ahead and drop it. Still on. No problem whatsoever. Now the user interface also has a memory. So if you got it on, let's see, what is that, high? That was high. So let's cycle through to medium. There's medium, we turn it off, turn it back on, it's back on medium. Put it high, low, turn it off, turn it back on, it's back on low. Now the memory only works for low, medium, and high. It won't go back to turbo, it won't go back to strobe light, and it won't go back to firefly mode. The only button on here, the silver little stainless steel button right there, that has a little light on right in the center. If you can get that to focus right there, Canon, there we go. See that blue right there? That means that it is charged up. It basically will stay blue, and when you turn it on, it shows it as blue until it gets down to about 20% of charge life. And then it turns to red, a solid red state. And then when it gets down to about 10%, it starts to flash bright red. So then you know you're almost out of power. And then of course it dies after 10% is used up. And speaking of charging, it takes from a completely dead battery to completely fully charged. It took me 3 hours and 10 minutes. So it is not a quick charge scenario. It definitely takes quite some time. So this is something you definitely want to charge up overnight. Now some real world testing. I've already touched on a little bit with the water and the dry air type times and stuff, but let's talk about how useful this is. Okay, well I took it out to the range, took it out to my shooting range. First the normal 50, 100, and 200 yard ranges. And you can see right there, it throws a laser beam of light. There's me out there walking around, and you can clearly see the 50, the 100, the 200, and then out of curiosity, I went down to the long range area. I was sitting at the 600 yard range, and now I'm not sure if it shows very well on the camera, but I could see the target stands at 600 yards. Now you flashlight enthusiasts out there, you always want to see this shined up against a white wall. I don't have a white wall, I do have a white garage door. And now that picture right there starts me off on what issues we have with this flashlight, which is not really an issue, it's just how it's engineered and what its purpose is designed for, is that the Catapult is not designed to be something used in your garage or indoors really. It is meant to throw light a long distance away from you. You can't use this inside your house or inside your garage. If you're in search and rescue, if you're hiking, this would be great for boating. It has a lanyard, so you put a lanyard on there, you put one of these floats on here, which this is for a GoPro, but close enough. So when you drop it, which you will drop it, whatever you have on a boat, you will eventually drop overboard. So you put a float on this thing, but this would be great for trying to find, when you're night fishing, trying to find that dock when you had a few beers in you. So what are the real negatives about this flashlight? Well, let's go over the fact that it's not very ergonomic. It has a holster. I mean, are you really going to wear that on your belt? I mean, this one has a holster too, and that's still quite a bit. The only flashlight that I would actually consider a holster with is this TN12 here. So that's a very small holster. It's basically the size of a Leatherman. Now, it'd be really nice is if they had a Velcro strap back here where you could open it and close it and put that on your shoulder strap of your backpack. So that would really work out very handily, but they don't have that. It's just a simple nylon strap there and a D-ring basically, and that's it. The knurling isn't really that great. There's a close-up of it right there. The knurling's okay. The actual end cap is really slippery. You can barely get a hold of that. I mean, it's pretty difficult to get a good purchase on that and get that off. Now, luckily, it has onboard charging, so you hardly ever have to take out that battery. Actually, you don't have to take out that battery pretty much ever. Now, just like the TC20, it does have the dual springs in the back, which guarantee that no matter how hard you drop this, it will not lose contact. You'll be able to find that. Because sometimes when you drop a battery or drop a flashlight, the battery disconnects just for an instant. Just the movement of it landing just right will disconnect it from the flashlight just for a second to where everything shuts off. Then you can't find it in the dark. All their onboard charging, which is great to have onboard charging, but all of them are micro USB. Micro USB, really? So it'd be really nice if I could use the same charger as my Samsung here, which is a USB Type-C connection. If I could use that charger to charge my Thrunite up, but I can't. All these negatives are mostly nitpicky because this is a great flashlight, but one of the negatives also the price. It is, you can find it on Amazon right now for about 75 bucks, which is not cheap. This is not your Walmart grade special flashlight. This is a specialty product that demands a premium price. Now, you get what you pay for and you pay for what you get. And 75 bucks does get you an amazing flashlight that will throw out a light almost a half mile away, which that's what it's designed for. It's designed to do that. So if that's what you need in your life, then it's hard to do any better than this. But if you don't need that, you probably don't need this flashlight really. You're much better off with a cheaper, more floodlight type light from Thrunite, which I do highly recommend the Thrunites. I really do like them because they are the most waterproof flashlight I have ever reviewed. You can throw this thing, I've had these in buckets for days and days and days, and no water intrusion whatsoever. All the specs I gave you is for a cool white bulb here. The neutral white bulbs, they put out a little less power, a little less light. So instead of 1700 lumens for turbo, it might put out like 1500 lumens. I don't know because I could not find any specs in the instruction manual or online what the neutral white version is. So keep that in mind when you're ordering. Now, if you are interested in any of the Thrunite products, there'll be links in the description below the video, actually in the comments below the video. That's where it shows up best. So I will leave those in the comments below the video, and that will go straight to both their website, Thrunite's website, and to their Amazon store. I highly recommend the Amazon store because you get free shipping, and you get the security of going through Amazon, which is nice. And of course, they have the best prices there, I believe, as well. So go ahead and take a look at that. And if you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, leave that in the comment box with the video. And of course, you guys have a great day. See ya.